Okay, all right. So I'm going to pull up tight. We'll cut real close to the pubics. Open that bird up just enough so that I can get my fingers in. I've actually had numerous, any surgeons here? Anybody a surgeon? I've had numerous surgeons that I've done this, and about this point they say, oh, that's just like surgery. They say, actually, one of the biggest misconceptions is that a surgeon's standing there with a scalpel in his hand. Actually, he said, we don't do much cutting. We actually do very little cutting. Because you start cutting, next thing you know, oop, I just hit the liver, you know. You can go, so that we said we actually do a lot of finger, you know, pulling aside, pushing and all that. All right, so we'll pull it apart. And so I like to always have a fresh hose. See, I had a little bit of manure there. Okay, so look, we don't use chlorine. We don't use a bunch of antimicrobial soap, but you also don't want to be stupid. Okay, so we want this to be clean as it can be without all that other junk. So I like so in our butchering station, everybody has a hose. We run it across a line on top. Everybody has their own hose, and you can adjust it and you can make it wherever you want to. But we're purposely making this simple and poor boy to show you how simple it can be, but it doesn't take much to throw a stick up here and have a nice little water. Okay, so now I'm going to go in basically twice. All right. The first time I'm going to go in and I'm going to pull the fat off of the gizzard. Here's the gizzard right here. Okay, you can feel it. It's a hard. Okay, I'm going to pull the fat off because I want that fat. So there's one of the places you can lose some weight. You can lose weight by cutting the neck too far down, so you lose a vertebrae. You can lose skin down here, cutting too high from the vent. You can lose weight not capturing this fat. All right, now I'm going to go in again and I'm going to rub my fingernails against the smooth keel bone, so I'm under the breast. The thing about a chicken is it's upside down from everything else, okay? So, for example, the tenderloin of a pig is where? Up on its back. The tenderloin of a chicken is on her breast. So everything on a chicken is upside down from the other animals. That's just the important thing to remember. All right, I'm going to go, and what I'm feeling for is the heart. Obviously, the heart is hard. It feels like a little hard ball in there. And I want to scoop down, and then I want to get ahead of the heart, and then scoop down, and then I want to hook the digestive tract around my pointer finger. Here I can say trigger finger. Okay. And I'm going to pull that out. Now watch this. There comes the crop right here. Here's the crop. Okay. And there is the esophagus. There's the crop all the way up front, and no juice went in the carcass. You with me? What have I got in my hand? I've got everything. Okay. So all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to switch hands, roll it over, and see this green? That's the gallbladder. You don't want the gallbladder. You don't want to break the gallbladder. You don't want to eat the gallbladder. When all the poetry says bitter as gall, they knew what they were talking about. Bitter as gall. If you ever get this in your mouth, you'll know. Okay. So I'm just going to pinch the gallbladder off of the liver and heart. There's the heart. Okay. Isn't that's a beautiful? Where are my farmers here? Good. That's a beautiful liver. Okay. That's real nice. Where am I going to put this?
That's a great question.
Joel, what do you look for on that spots or?
If it has white spots, that's coccidiosis. Okay. All right. If it's very pale and soft, see this is firm and dark. Thank you. If it's pale, when it looks like that, we save it. But if it's anything other than that, we don't. Okay. Okay. All right. So now I'm left with the guts in my left hand and one poo cord. Right. Okay. Now I don't want to break that poo cord. I'm just going to put just a smidgen of tension on it, and I'm going to pull it to the left, and I'm gonna cut right down alongside of it. So there are 3. I like to divide this in. When I do it fast, I'm making it look real smooth. But I want you to think in terms of 3 cuts. Don't, whoo, like this, because you can lose a lot of material. Then I'm gonna turn it to the right. I'm gonna cut right down alongside it. That's cut 2. And then I'm gonna cut underneath it, okay? That goes in the bucket. Now, this bird doesn't have much fat. A lot of times you'll see a nice big glob of fat. There is some fat here around the pubics. That's the 4th place that you can, with sloppy evisceration, you can lose weight, is cutting too big a hole here in the rear. That's why I do it the 3 cuts, left, right, underneath, is because if you just do this fast and sloppy in one, the tendency is to pull off some more of that fat. Okay, now the lungs are still in there. Every bird has 2 of them, and the lungs collapse into the rib cage. Okay, so I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna kind of go sideways. You can feel the ribs. The ribs are running this way, so the lungs are going to be collapsed into there. There's 1, and here's the next one. There's the other one. Okay, now a lot of times the windpipe doesn't follow out with the esophagus, and this one didn't, and so it was still in there. So I'm going to get the windpipe out, and that bird is now done. And when it's all finished, because I cut real low, I've got plenty of skin back here to just poke a little hole in that skin. And I'm going to tuck one leg, tuck the second leg.
Look at that.
And I have a beautiful table-ready chicken ready to eat. Is that not cool?
Beautiful.
So what about the gizzard? I noticed you threw
the gizzard. All right. So some people like the gizzard. Now, again, yeah. So what we would do before this is we would have water here and we would squirt out the inside just to wash it out, clean it out. But yeah, these birds these are beautiful birds, by the way. These are. I very seldom get birds this pretty when I do demonstrations. I seldom get birds this pretty, so kudos to you for doing birds this pretty. I've had every kind of ornery, weird, sick chicken you can imagine, and it's just a delight to have good birds. All right, want to do one more? Yeah. Do one more. Okay.
Anybody else want to get closer?
That goes into the ice plunge.
Into the ice.
In general, you want these birds, we do a 2-stage. We don't put them in ice water right away. We put them in just cold well water right away. That turns pink. We leave them in there for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes. That takes the initial real hot body heat off, the scald heat off. Obviously, we're running way faster than we're doing right here this morning. And then we put them into the ice water bath. That way, the ice water doesn't turn pink, stays real nice and clean. You want these birds to be below 40 degrees within 3 hours. Below 40 within 3 hours. Okay? Here we go. Remember the valleys. All right? Got one there. One here. You know what I didn't do on that first one? Cut out the oil sac. That's the oil sac. That is very much up to you whether you want to cut out the oil sac or not. We always do. A lot of people don't, so don't stress about that. All right.
What would be the purpose of that? Why do some people do that?
Tainting. That oil sac tainting the meat. Okay. Okay. Remember the valley? Okay. We'll pinch it up. That'll just get me a loose skin here. I'm just gonna nick it enough to get my finger in. You don't want to cut the crop because then that's gonna get digestive juices all over the neck. All right.
So what if you do and you get digestive juices on everything?
You wash it off good. That's why you want water here. Okay.
So it's not throw the chicken out. It's
No.
rinse
Don't
it
throw
off
the chicken out, but just wash it off really good. Okay. Now in the industry, they just give it another couple chlorine baths. That's why the industry is chlorine. Every station is just chlorine. It's so filthy. And remember, the birds that come into a big processor, they have, because they've been breathing and living in fecal particulate all the time, it's in their skin, it's in their feathers, it's in their respiratory tracts, it's everywhere, okay? So when we were having our battles early on with the food police, we actually had a microbial test done on our chickens at a lab, and we took our chickens, just went down to Kroger's and bought chickens and sent those. So we'd really have same day, same procedure, same everything, same people, and they cultured the bacteria, and ours averaged 133 colony forming units of bacteria per whatever the measure was. CFU, they measured it in colony forming units, CFU. Ours was 133, and the store-bought birds that had 40 chlorine baths averaged 3,600. Okay? That's 25 times cleaner that we were than the store. Okay, there's the crop. All right, again, I'm gonna kind of curl it up under my thumb here to loosen it, pull it down. Okay, and then I'm gonna switch hands and pull it back. Didn't quite get it. There we go. Then I'm gonna switch hands and pull it back. Okay, then I'm going to poke my thumb under the esophagus and the windpipe and pull them out of the neck. Again, see the two pipes? Now sometimes part of these will come off with the head. Sometimes they break off up. Don't worry. So sometimes you won't have. I've had two perfect chickens here, to show you. But a lot of times one of these will be shorter than the other, because it came off with the head. Okay? All right. I'm going to flip the bird around. Again, we're going to pull up the rear end, tighten that skin up, and just nick it enough, just get through the fat enough to get my finger in. Bit of poop there again, that's why you want. And I don't, when that happens, I don't just soldier on. You want to get that off, all right? You don't want to be rooting that chicken around in poop. Are you with me? Okay? You want to be smart about this. All right. Pull it open enough. Poopy chicken. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to go in. Remember, I'm going to go in twice. All right. I'm going to go in first. Find that gizzard. Oh, the question was about the gizzard.
Yeah.
Okay. So some people, we used to save the gizzard. But nobody eats the gizzard anymore. Almost nobody. And
I do.
okay, some people do. Yeah, sure. And some people use it for catfish bait. It makes excellent catfish bait because it's stiff. It goes on a hook really well. So today, but what we found was that by the time we cleaned them, we could butcher $100 worth of chickens in the time it took us to clean a 50-cent gizzard. Okay. And so we just finally gave it up. Now, if you say, from time to time we have somebody, oh, gizzards are my favorite thing, gizzards and gravy and blah, blah, blah. You want us to save you some? Sure. So, yeah, I want all you can have. So we say, all right, come at 2 o'clock, we'll have all your gizzard. So they come, and we give them 2 5-gallon bucketfuls of gizzard. We never see them again. It cures everybody. When they have to clean 2 5-gallon bucketfuls of gizzards, they're done. Okay, so again, this one has more fat than the other one, I'm glad. You can see it better. See all that fat? All right, I'm going to pull that off the gizzard to leave it with the chicken, because the fat's where it's at, right? We don't want to lose that fat. All right, now I'm going to go in a second time, and I'm feeling down for that hard heart. This is a hard-hearted chicken, okay? And now I'm going to hook the digestive tract around my trigger finger. All right, there it comes. There's the windpipe. All right, there are the guts. I'm going to flip it over. We'll pull the gallbladder off. That leaves the heart and liver right there, and everything else sitting in my left hand. All right. Now we'll put a little bit of tension on. We'll pull it to the left, cut on the right side. Pull it to the right, cut on the left side. Now I'm going to come underneath, cut it there, the vent's out, and we're good to go in for the lungs. Lung number 1, lung number 2, and we've got a little piece of windpipe there that broke off. They can be aggravating sometimes.
They're
What do you do
slippery.
with your left hand, Joel? Okay, you're reaching for it.
Yeah.
Want me to rinse this real quick?
What?
I can rinse that right now.
Okay.
After you get the lungs out.
I got the lungs
There you
out.
go. Okay.
All right.
I'll rinse it if you.
Okay. All right. Yeah, go ahead.
Then we don't have to rinse it after it's all.
Okay. All right. So, our benchmark at our farm is that this evisceration process, you should be able to do that one bird about every 45 seconds. Okay? So less than a minute a bird. So with 2 good eviscerators, you should be able to run about 130 birds, 140 birds an hour. Okay? So in a normal setup like ours, we run 20 birds per person hour. So if we have 8 people, 160 birds an hour, 10 people, 200 birds an hour, okay? Which amazingly is exactly as efficient as Tyson. That's their same level.
About how many birds does a person need to process before they get to that speed? Because I imagine they don't start out that.
1,785.
Thanks.
You either get good or you quit.
Okay. Because you pay by the bird, right?
Because what?
People make money by the bird.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah. It takes a few hundred.
Yeah.
It takes a few hundred. Again, it's the reps. You know, in football, it's all about the reps, right? And so you need to do a bird like this windpipe broke. You need to do a bird where the intestine broke. You need to do a bird, all right? And it's all those anomalies, you know. And you don't want to start on stewing hens if you can help it. You know, if that's the first bird you ever butcher, well, that's just the way it is. But let me tell you what, those women have all sorts of weird stuff inside of them. and they're tough as nails. And this is the kind of bird to start on. A nice, gentle, 8-week-old Cornish cross. That's the bird to start on. So now I'm going to poke my little tuck hole in the back. And I'll poke this leg in. And I'll poke this leg in. And we have a beautiful oven-ready presentation. It can go right in the bag, no problem. We just bend the neck back, stick them right in the bag. You can take the neck off and stick it inside the chicken. You can do that as well. If you do that, you need to get a little and they're actually called diapers, and they're little squares of padding to put in the neck, because if you cut the neck off here, you know, with a cleaver or something, you're gonna have sharp bones. It's gonna poke your bag. Okay, so we just bend it under and do it like that. Nobody's looking at the back of the chicken in the bag. They always look at the breast, right? So by bending the neck under, it doesn't reduce the aesthetics, the appearance of the chicken. Okay.
And you don't fold the wings underneath?
You can. Yep, you can do that too. We don't, because you do that if the chickens are in a meat case. All right. But if they're in a bag, that complicates the bag. But if you're putting them on a shelf in a meat case, yeah, that's the gourmet way to offer it. But in a bag, you want them like this. You want them nice and tight in the bag.
So when you're pulling the innards out, if you happen to just pull too hard and you rip something open and it just makes a mess inside, it's clean it out, spray it out, and keep going.
Clean it out, and keep going. That's right. That's right. Yeah, and learn from your mistake.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't care how good you are. I mean, no matter how good you are, once in a while you're gonna make a mess. It just, I mean, the gallbladder breaks. Now, if the gallbladder breaks all over the liver, we throw that liver away.
Right.
We don't even but we don't throw the chicken away. We wash it all off and all that. But no matter what you do, once in a while, whatever, the moon isn't going to be right, whatever, and you're gonna mess up one, and it just happens.
And the
Okay.
meat changes color where the gallbladder fluid hits too. If you're going to cut it out, which is helpful.
Yeah.
Having also done that.
Well, you talk about before you go to cook it, you can see it's a different color.
I don't put it away with the discolor meat. You can see it immediately.
That's what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying
yeah.
right
It
now.
starts digesting itself.
Yeah, but you can wash it and that's one reason why we do the double soak. So we have in other words we have a well water temperature, just a cold water soak for about 15 to 20 minutes. That takes out the scald heat and soaks out little nurdlies, helps any discoloration soak out. That water actually turns pink. It has a lot of little chodies floating in it.
Yeah.
Okay, and so then when we pull it from that into the ice bath, the ice bath stays really, really nice and clean. Okay.
Sell your liver separately from your chicken?
We do. We sell our liver separately. Again, we used to sell them together, but more and more people, I don't want the liver, I don't want the liver. And we had other people, man, I'd buy 10 pounds of livers if I could get them. And so we finally quit putting those in the bird and sell the chicken and the liver separately. Right. I think we put 10 livers in a bag, and then we also put about 20 hearts in a bag. So we separate the liver and the hearts. The hearts go in one bag and the livers go in another. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
What do you do with do you feed to the dogs or you compost?
So we compost all this. This morning, real early, I talked about the composting. We compost with wood chips, with side end, because this is sloppy, and we use about a 10 to 12 foot barrier around the edge, so it's kind of a saucer shape, and we lasagna style. Okay, layer it up with wood chips. The reason wood chips are so good is because they won't bridge. They'll fall down. So if anything tries to burrow or go into it, they can't burrow into it because the chips fall down and close up their tunnel. Whereas straw, hay, sawdust, things like that can bridge.
Some people feed to the animals or dogs or...
You can. There's nothing, I have no problem with that. You got to realize we get 15,000 visitors a year. And there are things that we can do that we don't. Because when a little class of kindergartners comes and they see the dog pulling a 10-foot piece of intestine across the yard, it makes them not want to buy chicken in the store. You and I know it's silly, but we have to be sensitive. We have to respect where people are. We're not going to change the world by just being unresponsive to where most people are. We have to appreciate where people are. So yeah, I mean, we feed dead chickens to the pigs. If we know there's no tour, nobody coming, it's early in the morning or late in the evening, nobody's going to be there. Yeah, pigs love it. They're omnivores, and so it's like a Snickers bar for them.
There's it all.
But you have to be careful the PR of it. Now, if you have a farm that has a no trespassing sign and is like this, you can do whatever you want to. We don't. We have a welcome sign. Everybody's welcome. 24/7, 365. Anybody can come from anywhere in the world, any time of day, to see anything unannounced. So it's common for us to come home and there's 3 families just walking across the place. That's our commitment to transparency. And everybody's not like that, but that's where we are. And we find that it really is part of our brand that we're that transparent and people appreciate it. Nothing to hide, except all of our guns.
You don't have guns.
We have a lot of guns.
I fell off a boat, right? Boating accident.
Good. Are we?
Yeah, so thank you. Let's thank you. Appreciate you giving us so much of your time today.
Absolutely. So I'm going to hang around and I'll help Coach and Nicole and Brett and believe me, everybody, I make it look easy. Okay? When you start into this, you're going to be, it just all feels like a big bowl of Jell-O. Okay? But again, repetition, just You'll be amazing. I don't know how many times I've heard people say, "Man, the first 10 birds took us 4 hours. The next 10 birds took us 2, and then we did 40 in 2 hours." It builds. You get better, and the more you do, the better you get. Yeah. So I want to see. My dream is I'd like to completely overcome all factory farming. There is not one reason for a single bird in the world to be in a factory farm. We just need to stop it and eliminate it, and we're the antidote to the factory farm. So let's carry on. All right, Nicole, you can ramrod, or you want to take a break maybe, and then kind of start in and ramrod the next.
Everybody need to, okay, yeah. Unload your bladders and come on back.
No